This is Morning Cafe News to Stanley Nyiringite. The hashtag is Biashara Tuesday. We're discussing matters business for you so that you can always understand. And this particular morning we get into matters taxes. Did you ever know that there's something called a tax amnesty? Did you ever know that by the 30th of June 2024, it's going to be done and dusted with? We're going to have this discussion with Njoba Njoroge, all the way from the Kenya Revenue Authority. Well, he's glad to have the taxman around to just tell us why we need to pay taxes and the whole conversation around this. And that is our question for you this morning. Do you know anything to do with tax amnesty? If you don't, well, call in live 0795 045 864. Phone numbers are open 0795 045 864. Talk to us on our socials as well. TV47KE, we've posted that question there. You can always talk to us and tell us what you think about this particular bit so that tukwe pamoja. But then, Njoroge, I'll let you first off introduce yourself fully so that we can kick off.
Thank you very much. My name is Njoba Njoroge. I work at the Kenya Revenue Authority, more specifically in a department called Debt. That's where we collect all the taxes outstanding. And yes, I'm here to have a conversation about the tax amnesty, hopefully engage our good viewers, share a few things, and hopefully make people understand what this tax amnesty is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. So first of all, what is the tax amnesty program?
Okay. So the tax amnesty program is a one-time facility given by the government to clear any outstanding penalties and interest where somebody has already settled all the principal tax liabilities. And it was enacted in the Finance Act of 2023 through a change in the Section 37 of the Tax Procedures Act, where somebody is able to benefit from 100% waiver of the penalties and interest and fines for certain categories of tax. That is which are administered under the Tax Procedures Act. Yes. All right. So that is, for example, income tax, pay-as-you-earn, VAT, excise, yes.
Mm-hmm. So who is literally eligible to enjoy this tax amnesty program?
The tax amnesty program is for one to qualify, you need to have cleared all your principal taxes for any tax that is outstanding prior to December 2022. So anything 2022 and before, you qualify for the penalty and interest. But the principal taxes, of course, you'll have to settle. 2023 is not covered.
Okay, so Kawili Gonga, January 1st, 2023, that's you on your own. Wait, so because I'd really want us to break it down.
No problem.
Because now, mostly when you mention to people taxes, mostly they probably know the pay and the whole, the
VAT.
Yeah, the VAT.
Correct.
That ikifika around June, unafaa kume file
tax returns.
Yes,
correct.
That's the basic, conversation that most people would have.
Correct.
So when you throw in some of the words like principal tax, they're wondering,
what is it?
Niko na principal tax mimi kweli?
Okay.
So break it down for us.
All right.
How that plays along.
All right. So let's start from the point where you've just stopped off. Come June, by 30th of June, we always call for people to file their returns.
Yeah.
What you're coming to file is your annual return for the previous financial year.
Right.
So you and I, as individuals, our financial years run from January to December. And you're supposed to file your return 6 months after the end of your financial year. That's why your return falls in by June, 6 months after December. There are those returns which come in every month.
So if I had filed my returns last year, around June,
right?
So for this year, when am I supposed to do that?
For 2024?
Yeah.
By 30th of June, 2025.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now, back to those individuals who qualify now for the amnesty.
So let's start with a category of individuals who generally do not qualify. For example, employees like you and I.
Oh, okay.
So you work for this good organization. They pay you a salary. At the end of the month, they deduct something. They pay over to KRA. No tax further required from you.
Oh, okay.
So generally, unless there's an error in computation, you would not have to worry about further taxes after your employment income. But let's talk about somebody who's in business. still an individual like you and I, but instead of having employment income, they have business income or they have rent income. You own a few properties, people pay you rent, so you actually do account for your own taxes.
So hypothetically,
yes,
somebody who does, because I love to use these groups, Mama Mboga,
correct,
Mtu Boda,
yes,
who else? Mtu Anauza Smoky Mai.
Business,
so those,
business.
Yes, so those hypotheticals.
Yes.
So, and they're watching us this morning and they're wondering, so okay, so now that you mentioned
yes,
business persons,
right,
so they actually fall into this category.
Yes, they're business people, right. But there are scales of businesses that they would feature more as opposed to others. Let me just finish up with the annual one, then we'll come now to those specific ones. Right. So like the person who would qualify to be in business and file an annual return, much like yours, they declare the tax. I have been business, I have bought this, I have sold this, is a profit I have made. This is the tax that is coming from that profit. And you compute the tax on that. That is principal tax. And that is what you come and declare in your return. That is what you're saying you have to have cleared for the tax periods up to 2022. So 2022, 2021, going back, you have to have cleared all the principal taxes for you to qualify for the amnesty on the penalty and the interest.
Going back how many years?
As far back.
As far back as 19...
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, good.
So the limit is actually when it's up to 2022. There's no limit on how far back it goes. Yes.
Right.
Right.
So because you also say so accrued, the whole penalties and everything. So explain to us, viewer watching, they now fall under that category of this business person.
Yes.
You later on now tell us, the different cadres of the businesses
right,
that they also fall under.
Yes.
But then now they fall under this. And hearing you say accrued penalties, those tax charges. So walk us through how that could have fallen for them to actually accrue the penalty. Right. Maybe they don't even know they've accrued the penalty by that time. Right. How should they know?
Generally, penalties and interest accrue from for two main reasons. One, you have not filed your returns by the due date. Every return that is required of you has a due date when it's supposed to be filed. So like yours and I, when we are employed and you're doing the annual return, it's supposed to come in by 30th of June. So for one reason or the other, if I come and file it in July or August, I will detract a penalty for submitting my return after the due date. So I get a penalty for that. If I have tax to pay, so let's say I am a business person and I have computed whatever tax and I have not paid it by the time it is required, it also attracts a penalty and an interest for staying with the money for the government longer than I should. Yes.
Right. So now break it down for us, the different cadres of the businesses, because I had mentioned the Mama Mboga, yes, Mtu Boda, Mtu Anauza Smoky Mai, yes, but then you also say it can also go higher. So so it's as if there are different cadres of it.
Correct. So there is the annual return, then there are other returns that come in every month. So for example, there is what people always see whenever you go to the supermarket and you see a VAT somewhere on the receipt. So the VAT is accounted for and paid every month by the 20th. Somebody who has rental income on residential properties does the same thing every month. For the small-scale business person, the Mama Mboga, to a certain degree, you expect them to file a return called turnover tax. And that also comes in every month by the 20th. So you find that depending on where you are on the scale of business and what you do, there are some businesses that actually do expect you to file a return. We expect to file a return on that business every month. And there are some who do for certain classifications of tax every year. Yes. So that's what I meant with there. Some are annual, some are monthly.
Right.
Like for employed people, the employers are required to file a return on the employees every single month by the 9th. So that also qualifies when there are no further penalties and interest to qualify for the amnesty.
Right.
Yes.
So let me take you back to last year, the 1st of September, when this program began. How was it when even telling people there's this tax amnesty?
Yes.
How was the acceptance and people actually coming on board just at the first, even the September itself?
Yes. So we always have, with every new thing, there's always a little bit of what's this all about? Is it genuine? Is it Are people looking for, there's always all those questions. But there are always people who have been waiting for it. They're like, yes, I've had penalties in my books, and I want to get rid of them because probably something went wrong, something's out of my control. And yeah, the people who actually came and presented themselves and they were asking, when are you rolling it out? So the uptake actually was quite positive. They could not wait for us to implement it. And currently, very many people have benefited.
So at that time, so the 1st of September.
1st of September.
You walk into a KRA office. Can you do it virtually? Kwa phone tu memalizana naye, or you actually have to walk into a KRA office?
At that time, you had to walk into the KRA office. Currently, the system has been enhanced. ITAC system, sorry, I have to be specific. The ITAC system has been enhanced to enable you and I log into our various profiles on ITACs. And once you log in, the system itself automatically initiates the amnesty. So if there's any penalty and interest that does not have a principal tax attached to it, it's cleared automatically.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and actually get a certificate in your email.
So what if you don't have social media, or rather internet, wherever you are? You live deep into the woods there, somewhere in Nyakeminchi uko ndani,
right.
You see, and you don't have internet. You're using that kabambe.
Yes.
Can this business person still be able to do this?
Well, if you're a business person, that means at some point you do have connectivity because you have to file your returns every month or every year. Yes, so yeah, most people actually do have access.
Right.
Or if you can't access it because you have a kabambe, just go to the nearest KRA office, and there's a facility with which we can actually initiate the amnesty for you.
So if this business person comes into the KRA office,
yes,
there are no questions asked.
No.
You're asking you, oh, mbona hii.
Why have you accrued? Why have you?
Why have you?
No questions asked.
It's just immediate.
Yeah, correct.
All right, so that's the September of the 1st of September.
Yes.
So because now they have about 110 days, give or take, until the 30th of June.
Yes.
How many have onboarded so far?
The people who have benefited from the amnesty, as of the last numbers I had, were about 300,000. Of course, very many people don't have penalties and interest on their ledgers. So for the ones who actually do have and have benefited, the last numbers I had were about slightly over 300,000.
300,000?
Yes, pins.
Okay.
So individual pins like mine, yours, companies in partnerships, a pin.
Oh, a pin.
As long as a pin has
okay.
about 300,000 of them.
Right.
Yes.
So now those are the numbers you have.
Yes.
So the ones that I have as of February, the last week of February,
right.
About 227,000 and 71 taxpayers.
All right.
So KRA had collected about 14.5 billion Kenyan shillings.
Correct.
So how does that now play? So first of all, what number are you targeting by the next 110 days, first of all, so that you also tell us this is probably the amount that you'd probably be targeting to collect?
I may not have the amount that we're targeting to collect per se, but of course the number of taxpayers whom we are targeting to benefit is 100%.
Oh, 100%.
We don't want to leave anybody behind. If you have a penalty, why would you want to be left out?
Well, but then, okay, roughly,
Yes.
let me rephrase this.
Yes.
So about 300,000 benefiters.
Yes.
In your systems, how many taxpayers have accrued penalties as of 2022 way back?
That number keeps changing for very many reasons. One, there's debt in the system that is not correct. Something happened, you got a debt that should be reconciled. A payment is missing, a return was entered incorrectly. So it shows as a debt, but it should not be. So that is a process of cleanup, so that we get the correct data, so that you actually benefit from it. There are those who actually have accrued proper debt. Now you see, we can't tell that when you have all these pins together. So the process of verification and reconciliation is currently ongoing across the whole country in the various tax stations. So when you look for a number, we might not have a number that this is what we are targeting, because we have a lot of data that is not correct. So yeah, I may not give a number that we are targeting 1 million or 2 million or 3 million.
Okay.
But let's just say you want to have a clean book by the end of this exercise.
So there's no standalone bit of it?
No, I would be giving incorrect data if I was to give you a number.
Right.
Yes.
Remember, you can always be part of this conversation. 0795 045 864 is the number to call in live. 0795 045 864. Call in live. Tafuta credit sai. Have you ever heard of those two words? Tax amnesty. Tax amnesty. This is basically KRA just telling you we're pardoning you for all those accrued penalties that you've had 2022 kwenda nyuma hata huko 1902 yenye your grandfather aliyaichukua. And the tax expert is right here to explain how this tax pardon program works. I'm trying to get quite a number of the comments on our socials. So you're asking you, do you know the tax amnesty program by KRA? Send in those particular questions. Let me see. Hafsa Kabal says I'm at KRA office now. Right. That was 22 minutes ago. Sijukama bado ametoka. And I was told I can't do waiver. I'm asking, is there people favored to do waiver and others not to do?
Right. Now, the same law that brought in the tax amnesty also deleted waivers. So as we speak, we do not have the facility for people to apply for waivers currently. There are no waivers going forward as we speak right now. Yes. All
right. Why was that? What was the reasoning behind that?
I'm not so sure about the reasoning behind it. I would be taking around in circles.
But then, do you think now it's going to be beneficial?
Not having waivers? I think it's just a matter of now promoting compliance. Because, yeah, you just have, now that you know that there are no waivers, you have to really be careful with the way you handle your tax matters.
Right.
Yes.
I'm trying to see anyone else. Mariah says, pesa yenye koto inaenda wapi? Tell me one project. Okay. That's getting into matters, politics and everything. You can always talk to us. Any kind of question that you have, you've probably interacted with the whole tax amnesty program. You've had people talking about it, and you want to actually get into it, but you don't know how to actually get into this program and even apply for it. And Njoroge is right here to answer those questions. And speaking of which, yes. So someone is anatufuatilia and they're wondering, so how do they actually apply for this? Right. So on the website, first of all, which website do they go to?
On your iTax portal.
Or on the iTax portal.
Where you log in with your PIN and your password.
Right.
That's where you go.
Right. Yes. So there's no need to actually apply for the amnesty and everything? Separately,
no. Okay, let's look at these two scenarios.
Okay.
Person one has no principal tax, only has penalty and interest. Let's say you filed a return for the year 2020, you filed it late. So what you're supposed to do is just log into your profile on iTax as if you are filing your return for this year. Once you log in, the iTax system is triggered to clear those penalties automatically. No application, nothing. That's the enhancement that has been done currently. Yes.
All right. So how will you know, for example, it's back in 2008 tuko kitambo.
Yes.
And over the years, for example, you had a business in 2008.
Yes.
Kachun and Ayo, you accrued penalties at that time.
Yes.
You left that business. You may not even be aware that happened. Now hypothetical of that. And then later on, 2022, you continue. Is there a way to actually confirm that you've accrued penalties and all that?
Well, like the year you just mentioned, most of the time, mostly we were on the manual system at that time, because the iTax system was rolled out in 2015. That's when everybody was supposed to have filed.
Yeah.
So anything 2014, other than the few people who came in on board early, they were still on the manual system. So you'd have to walk into your KRA office, your tax station, ask them to have a look at the old ledger, and they tell you whether you have penalties and interest. But something is being done to address that. I'm not so sure how long it will take to bring it onto iTax, but something is actually being done. But for the ones on iTax, just log into your system and you can see what is outstanding.
So basically digitizing how 2014 kurudi nyuma.
Yes, to make it visible to you, because you would have to walk into a KRA office to know what is outstanding. Yes.
And one question that many Kenyans will always love to ask, and mostly even the government, so what if I don't? And I also don't even on board before, or rather, actually before the 30th June.
Yes.
So what happens to me come 1st of July?
So come 1st of July, you will contend to pay everything, the principal, the penalty, the interest, and the fines, for those who have not cleared the principal taxes. For those who don't have any principal taxes outstanding, we are trying to clear as much of that penalty and interest automatically. But for you and I, probably, who have, maybe you have a principal tax outstanding somewhere, we are encouraged to clear that to benefit from the amnesty. Yes.
Now for paying, because you say you definitely have to pay.
Yes.
So do you have to pay as of 2022 all the way, and then now, for 2022 until now,
yes,
for 2024,
yes,
what happens for these 2 years? Is it for the payment? Do you double up at that moment all the way back?
So I had mentioned 2 scenarios. So the one scenario is where you don't have any principal taxes and the system clears it automatically for you. The second scenario is where you actually do have tax outstanding for 2022 going back. So that's why now you need to apply for the amnesty. Once you log in to your iTax profile, under a tab called Data and Enforcement, you will see apply for amnesty. So you can either choose to apply for the amnesty and pay off everything at once, or you can pay it off in installments. Say, for example, you have maybe 100,000 shillings outstanding. You don't have the 100,000 as we speak right now, but you have half of it. So you apply for a payment plan and pay, I want to pay this in 2 installments, half immediately, half next month. Once you clear it next month, the amnesty kicks in and all the penalty and interest attributable to that debt is cleared. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that means now by 2024, now after,
yes,
are we going to see now another kind of tax amnesty program relaunched? Do we expect to see that?
We cannot tell. We don't know, because it's dependent on what is passed in the next Finance Act.
Right.
You see, Finance Acts are passed every year to change. Yeah. So this one was passed last year to change the laws that were there, and it is running until June. So with the next budget cycle that is coming to be read, now we don't know what, unless maybe the proposals come in and the finance deems it fit. So we can't tell what is coming in the future.
Right. And now all this period, because September all the way until now, KRA has been doing awareness across the country.
Correct.
What's the reception from people?
It's positive. It's very good. Actually, it's very encouraging. People have been waiting for it. Nobody wants to carry debt in their books.
I mean, true, yeah.
Yeah, and the less you see of KRA, for most people, the better. So any program that will help you to clear off as much of that debt as possible is very welcome.
But what are the unique challenges that people tell you? Rather even tell KRA that this is what we're probably facing.
All right.
Even uniquely in different parts of the region, because maybe business persons in maybe Kisumu might have unique challenges to those in Mombasa, to those in Turkana. What are some of those unique challenges that they're facing, and maybe they're watching us and wondering, this is actually do relate to this?
Okay, so I think the biggest one currently is, let's say, how to structure the payment plan, because as you said, you only have 100 and something days left to go.
Yeah.
So there's not much time. Then maybe somebody didn't even know that they had so much debt in the system, because it's over the years. So somebody walks in and says, yes, I want to take advantage of this amnesty. How do I go about it? So the first thing you need to look at, do you owe any taxes? So when you look at the system and you tell them you owe so much, sometimes somebody might be a little bit in shock, like, I didn't even know it was that much. So how do I structure a payment plan so that I can benefit from this? So that tends to be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. We have people, I think that's basically it. A lot of the time it's just a matter of how do I structure my finances to clear this so that I can benefit from the amnesty.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Frank Miruri on Facebook was reading your mind of the same. He asks, so how can I pay, or rather, can I pay half of my debt on the tax amnesty? And while this raises a whole bit, now follow up on what he is talking about. You've planned,
yes,
and you've seen have a debt of about, let's say, 2 million.
Correct.
So, but then right now, mbele nyuma kabisa, you can really gather $1 million.
Right.
And you say, so that's, until by 30th, that's what you can get.
By 30th of June.
By 30th of June.
Right.
That's what you can get, the $1 million.
Yes.
And the debt is about $2 million.
Right.
So is there a way that this business person can talk to KRA and say, this is what, hii ndio mimi niko nayo. Hata nyinyi mnajua. You guys know my system. So this is what I have, $1 million, Bob. $1 million, Bob, yes. So can we structure a way that, msahawi $1 million? Or rather, yes, so let's say all that, and then later on, I pay you this later.
Fortunately or unfortunately, no. And I'll clarify that. Mm-hmm. The amnesty works on a per tax period. What I mean is this: you and I file returns every year. Mm-hmm. Let's take that we are business people. So we have taxes outstanding for 5 years, and in those 5 years, it accumulates to 2 million shillings principal tax, not even counting the penalty and the interest. Yeah. Each of those years is looked at separately when it comes to the amnesty. So what you can probably do is, this $1 million, Bob, that you will have by June, structure it so that it clears the taxes for some of those years, so that at least you benefit, you don't lose out. So if we are going back, let's say 2022, going back 5 years, that's about 2018 or 2017, clear 2017, the principal taxes outstanding, maybe it was 250,000. So you benefit in that year. Come to 2018, clear the tax on that, maybe it was 150,000. Come to 2019, maybe that was a good year for you. Maybe you made profits of about 1 million shillings. So that one you might not be able to do that. Come to 2021, maybe because of business, things went down. So you have maybe 300,000 shillings to pay. Clear that so that you can benefit. So you see, at least you'll be able to benefit in some years if your finances are constrained. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So in situations where this taxpayer does not agree with whatever maybe is in the system, they're told, so this is the debt, but then them in their books, they say, no, this is what I have. What happens in such a situation? Now,
you may not agree because of two things. What comes to the top of my mind is two things. Mm-hmm. One, the return that was filed is incorrect. So that's where the process of reconciliation I was talking about, to correct the data that is in the system, comes in. So you come and say, no, you'd say, KRA, in your books, you say, I owe you 500,000 shillings. But as per my tax records, my tax for this year is 150,000. Let's look at the difference and see where the error might have come in. That's one situation. Another one is where you have additional assessments levied on you. So you file your returns, KRA comes and looks at your books and say, no, you didn't file correctly. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to you file 100,000, mm-hmm. You're supposed to declare 300,000. Mm-hmm. So there's a dispute, and maybe it goes on to objection and something like that. So that process of dispute resolution, we are encouraging people to come in and finish up with it early enough so that you're able to benefit. So as long as you finish with it by 30th of June, and you settle whatever taxes that have been agreed upon, you'd be good to go. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what happens in a situation where different taxpayers are involved in tax disputes and all that, matters kotini?
Yes.
Does now KRA step into amnesty and everything for all that?
No, it has to have been settled by 30th of June. Disputes can be at various levels. First level is at objection. Come in, look at your books, raise some taxes in the system, and you say, no, the assessment, I don't agree with this assessment. So I'm raising an objection. The objection might go either way. It might go in your favor, it might go in KRA's favor. Someone might decide to appeal. So it goes to the tax appeal tribunal. And further to that, it might even go to the High Court, because we've seen them going to the court system. What we're encouraging people is to go to the ADR way, alternative dispute resolution mechanism, where we can have sit away from this legal system.
Out of court.
An out-of-court settlement, yeah. Exactly. Agree that, yes, this is a problem. What can we give and take? What is a non-negotiable? So that we can come with an amicable agreement on what is outstanding to enable people benefit. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I was taking a look at what the KRA Commission of Domestic Tax Responsibility was talking about that around February.
Yes.
Encouraging taxpayers with those ongoing tax disputes to expedite the resolution of the cases.
Exactly.
Right. Yes. With the whole amnesty period. Matters out of court settlements. Could you be part of this conversation? 0795 045864. So next question. So does now the amnesty apply to all tax obligations? Does it now cover accrued fines?
All right. So the tax amnesty applies to tax obligations that are covered under the Tax Procedures Act. We have various pieces of law that govern tax administration. So some are governed by the Tax Procedures Act. Others, like customs, are governed by the East Africa Customs Management Act. So that one will not be covered by the amnesty. So it's only the taxes that are covered by the Tax Procedures Act, which is income tax, VAT, monthly rental income, and the excise bit of it, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on the 1st of July, 2024, and henceforth, does now KRA start to look for you and tell you and do reminder, you have this accrued penalties, kindly now pay us?
We're always looking for you.
Okay, no,
it is an ongoing exercise throughout. We're always looking for you. We always send reminders and demand notices, so it's always ongoing.
And the reason I'm asking this is because I remember in 2022, when President William Ruto was sworn in, yes. And even after in his address in Parliament, the first ever address, he was talking about the good relation that KRA should have with businesses and even the Kenyans, a friendly, just to quote him, a friendly kind of relation.
Correct.
Now with this one, people would say, well, this is quite friendly. Yeah. You actually, tax pardoning us. But then now after, because right now it's going to be all smiles.
Yes.
We've pardoned you. But then now after, what are we going to be seeing from KRA as of the 1st of July, 2024 and henceforth? What kind of relationship should we be expecting from KRA, from people who still have accrued penalties and did not take part in this amnesty period?
All right. Well, one may not be able to take advantage of the amnesty for any one of very many reasons. And at the end of the day, what we're looking for is someone to pay taxes. So I don't expect this us to evolve from what we are to something else. We would still have a conversation with you and tell you, okay, fine, this is still outstanding. How do we go about settling this? So if you're able to settle it, probably what, like the example you just gave, all finances put together, you're not able to raise a 2 million that you had given as an example. Mm-hmm. You're able to raise 1. But what period would you be able to raise a 2 million? So probably, if you need to extend that payment plan to beyond July, so that you're able to pay the rest, including now the penalty and the interest, then we'd come and have a look at that situation. Mm-hmm. Yes, so I don't expect that we would now come looking for everything and all at once, as long as the taxes are paid. Mm-hmm. Payment plans have always been an option to think about here.
So that means even for the business persons, they get a message, a notification
yes.
from KRA advising them, this is the accrued penalties that you have,
yes.
this is the way forward. Is there such kind of a message, notification from KRA?
The message probably would be, this is how much is outstanding. This is how much you owe KRA. Mm-hmm. So now the feedback from the various people would be now, how do we expect you to settle this? So that's what we expect you to come and tell us. So there are some who would walk in and say, maybe they're not even aware how much it is. And once you alert them, they'll just come and settle everything all at once. Someone else would walk in and now have their conversion of, okay, fine, I'm not in the best of finances right now, but if we structure this, I would be able to settle it a bit more comfortably in this period of time. So all those conversations are open. We'll be open to all of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A layman would probably ask,
yes.
if KRA knows
yes.
in the systems, manually or also digitized in the iTax, that for taxpayer A, this is how much they've accrued.
Right.
Can it just be done automatically without this person having, maybe they don't even have this information, so mm-hmm. can it just be done automatically without this taxpayer having to start actually now do that whole process?
Can what be done automatically?
Can KRA do the whole process of pardoning the taxes without this person having to actually maybe apply and do all that?
Yes, it has happened, and it is happening. That process of automatically setting in the waiver, the amnesty, sorry, is done at the point of logging into iTax.
Right.
So once, let's say you're ready to file your return for 2023, but you don't even know that you have penalties for 2015, 16, 17.
Yeah.
As soon as you log into iTax to file your current return, it clears those penalties. So you logging in triggers that mechanism to set in the amnesty. So yes, it is being done automatically. Where it is not happening is where there is principal tax to be paid. Yes. So that one now is when you come in and have that discussion about how it's to be settled.
Oh, the principal tax itself.
The principal tax itself.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So that means now even for this business person, they have to log in.
Correct.
So without logging in, they won't.
They won't automatically qualify for it.
Because now that's my question.
Yes.
Now for this layman, probably wondering, because I don't have this information. They're probably watching right now. They're like, oh, so this is how it goes about. And maybe they actually realize it on the 29th or that day. I mean, mostly we call it the African timing.
Yes.
You know, the last minute. Yes. Normally we've seen this, and as KRA, the whole systems might actually be, quite busy on the 29th, the 30th, and those 2 days.
Yes.
Quite busy because people are rushing to log in and everything. Instead of this person logging in, and yet KRA knows, has the systems that this person has accrued penalties, now minus the whole principal tax. Can it just be automatic without this person having to log in?
Yes. That is actually currently being implemented. There's I think in the last 2-3 weeks, if you were to probably get feedback from your viewers, we have a lot of people who have received the amnesty certificates. So the system was actually enhanced to have that automatic clearing of the penalties and interests that don't have a principal tax attached to them. So very many people have received those certificates in the last about 2-3 weeks. In fact, many people were walking into the office and asking us, what is this thing? Telling me, you benefited from the amnesty already. Right. So it is automatic as we speak, yes. Because we have very many people who don't interact with the system frequently.
Yes.
Business people, especially the more busy ones, every month
allow me to pick this call from all the way from Narok. Daniel, habari asubuhi.
Mzuri sana.
Watu wa Narok mnaendeleaje?
Watu wa Narok tunaendelea salama, mvua kubwa.
Usijali pia. Huko Nairobi hakuna mvua bado. Ukiwa Narok, have you interacted with the tax amnesty program ya KRA?
Bado kwa sasa, lakini kuna swali ambayo nitaka kuuliza.
Yes, uliza nakusikia.
Unajipata wakati mwingine umekuwa na deni ya kama mwaka mmoja ama deni ya miaka miwili. Na ukafika pale kwa ofisi za KRA ukawaambia hii ndio deni yangu na sitaweza kulipa yote kwa wakati mmoja, naomba nilipe hii kiwango, alafu kuanzia mwezi unaofuata nitakuwa nikilipa ile tax. Alafu ile miezi ambayo sijalipa ama ile miaka sijalipa mnaniwekea kama deni. So nitakuwa nikilipa kwa ile plan ya kulipa deni, lakini niruhusiwe kulipa kila mwezi licha kuwa niko na ile deni. Sasa unakuta wakati mwingine wanasema hapana, hata ukienda pale kwa system inakataa, ukiwa uko na deni inakataa kulipa hii mwezi huo wakati huko. Tuseme kama sasa ni mwezi unaofuata, mwezi wa 4, ukijaribu kulipa inakataa kwa sababu kuna ile deni nyingine. Sasa unakuta umeshindwa sasa kulipa ile ya kitambo na hii ya wakati huu unashindwa kulipa. Sasa deni inaendelea tu, inaongezeka tu, haipungui. Sasa ningeomba huyu afisa wa KRA atueleze kama inawezekana ile deni lako likawekwa mahali fulani na ukahesabiwa na ukawekwa kwenye mpango wa kuilipa na ukaendelea immediately kuendelea kulipa sasa ile ambayo sasa inaingia kwa wakati, kwa sababu haitakuwa na penalty. Hiyo ndio nilikuwa nauliza.
Asante sana. Salimia tu Narok, kuambia endelee kututazama hapa. Your question will be answered right away.
Asante.
Oh yes. Remember, you can always be part of this conversation. 0795-045-864. 0795-045-864. Tupigie simu, tuulize all those particular questions. I'm pretty sure Njoroge will also be getting matters, maswali ya returns, nini, everything to do with taxes. Probably you'll also be answering them. But then even as we discuss matters, tax amnesty, tuongeleshe, utuambie if you have any questions or feedback. Daniel ameumia sana, anataka kumsaidia.
All right.
Yes.
I think part of his question has already been answered in our earlier discussion. I think it's part of those ones that would require him to walk into the nearest, his tax station or the nearest KRA office to see exactly what the problem would be. Because it is possible to actually structure a payment plan around what is outstanding that qualifies for the amnesty. That is part of what the engagement we've been having with people. So it actually is possible. The amounts involved would be a subject of discussion, but it is possible, yes.
Traditionally, what is he going to be asked when he walks into this KRA office?
First thing, of course, is to establish how much is the debt outstanding. What is the tax outstanding? So if you establish it is 10,000, it's 15,000, it's 2,000 shillings, it's $1 million, Bob. Then the next question is how would we structure a payment plan to settle this within the time limit available for him to benefit from the amnesty? Yes.
All right, continue.
No, so currently we are seeing that we have, including March, we only have 4 months. So yeah, if you have, say, for example, 100,000 shillings outstanding, that would average about 25,000 bob a month. So currently from March, April, May, and June, 25K per month. Yes.
So now, because now I was to ask, is there a cap that KRA maybe has set so that even with the payment plan, you're like, hii amount ni nyingi sana,
no,
we can't really work that? The
cap is determined by the debt that you have. So we don't have a cap on the amount. The cap is on the time limit. Okay. Yes. We can't go to July. Our conversations end at June 30th.
So depending on how much the principal tax is, yes, how much it is, it's for you to...
It's a timeline now. It's a race against time.
Wow. Yes. So now those ones who actually had this conversation and knew about it way back September, they October, were able to plan themselves.
You have more time.
All those months.
Exactly.
For...
Yes.
Wow. So if you have this information May, you only have
1 or 2 months.
Wow.
Yes.
Right. Keep talking to us on our socials, 0795045864. And tell us, what do you think about this whole tax amnesty? Have you, onboarded when it comes to this, particular bit? And so even as we continue the whole bit of, this tax amnesty, later on, while you're telling us a couple of questions, I'm saying, are we going to have this a little later on? You could probably now clarify, because those are now the kind of questions I'm getting on Facebook. Are we going to have another tax amnesty program? That's according to Givaka RJ. Are we going to have another? You told us that
now it's a matter of what is brought into the next Finance Act. So we work with what is currently there. This one runs, and it's a law that we have. So until it is changed, the law as it is, the amnesty runs until June 30th. After that, nothing.
Traditionally, what are your thoughts on maybe the time length of this program that has been so far? Well, since September, with how Kenyans traditionally perceive some of this information, how much they get to understand it. Next time, do we need a longer time frame?
Well, time frames are always a matter of subjectivity. Same time frame, you might act fast and benefit. I might be a bit slow and probably get caught up with time. So it's always a matter of how you organize yourself, probably. So I think time might not. I may not be able to say much about it. It's more of an individual, how various individuals adapt to it. So with time, is there really ever enough time? We only see the rush at June 30th, people filing returns. Yet
yes.
You always have a whole 6 months from January 1st. So I think timeline is just a matter of the individual.
Right.
Yes.
So because we're going back to hypotheticals and the best examples of the Mamamboga, Mso Abuda, how beneficial is this, even for these different cadres?
Extremely beneficial. Extremely beneficial. You see, everybody pays according to their ability. So it would not be very wise to compare somebody who is doing a small kiosk to somebody who is doing the distributor, where the person who's doing the kiosk or the small shop gets their produce. They operate on different scales. But you see, they all pay taxes according each to their own ability. So 10,000 might be a lot of money to this small person, the smaller trader. 10 million might not be much to somebody else. So each carries their own burden according to their ability. Yes.
Right. What are your thoughts on how Kenyans naturally again perceive matters taxes into the country? As someone from the other side of was naturally it's always been Kenya versus Kenyans and taxpayers traditionally versus KRA. From your end, how do we as Kenyans perceive the information about taxes and even the layman?
It has greatly improved. Like you're saying, the picture you've depicted is that of the situation that was there quite a number of years ago. It was them against us, but people have understood that we are also part of the tax-paying community. So as much as we are collectors,
so you're saying even you as in KRA, you're also paying.
Of course. Yeah, my salary is subject to the same tax as yours, so we are part of the same tax-paying community. So, but the information, the way it has been disseminated, the way it's been received, the feedback we always get is that there's a lot of awareness. It's greatly improved. So yes, people are aware. People are seeking more and more. People are seeking information as to their tax, the tax health, the tax affairs, outstanding amounts, and they're doing something about it.
Yes. Right. Yes. Let's go all the way to Kilifi now. Jimo, habari asubuhi.
Salama sana.
Watu wa Kilifi muendeleaje?
Kilifi kuko sawa kabisa.
Pia sisi huko Nairobi tuko salama, ni jua kali. Leo tunaongelelea masuala ya ushuru. Sijui una yepi kuuliza au kutuambia?
Mimi nilikuwa nauliza kuna watu ambao wamekuwa wakiwekewa zile pesa zao na kampuni yao, yani zinawekwa huko kwa KRA. Lakini unakuta sasa ule mtu pengine amechelewa kufile ile tax, ile P9 pale kwa cyber. Sasa nilikuwa nauliza, maanake ukienda kama umeruka mwaka mmoja, ukienda kufile hiyo nyingine itakwambia iwezekani. Sasa ile inakufanya wewe ukirudi kila tena na tena unaambiwa iwezekani mpaka ufile ile pale. Sasa mimi kama kesi yangu unapata zile zingine, kuna zingine hata nilizipoteza hizo form zenye watu tunapewa na kampuni za
kufile. Hizo za P9
Sasa ndio nilikuwa nauliza afisa, anaweza watu kama sisi manake tuko wengi, tunaweza saidika vipi ili tuende na wakati, ili tuanze ili yani hiyo message ikuwe corrected.
Okay. Sawa, asante sana, salimia watu wa Kilifi. Mwendelea kututazama hapa. Okay? Yes.
If I got his question correctly, part of what is actually a good thing with what is described is a situation that used to happen in the manual system where you would have gaps in your filing status. So you'd find in year 1 you have filed, year 2 you have filed, year 3 there is no return that is visible, year 4 there's a return. So what iTax does, it is intelligent enough not to skip any period for any tax that you're filing for. So if you're filing your income tax returns, for example, and you started off in 2015 when iTax was rolled out, you have to file all of them sequentially following each other. 2015, 2016, you can't skip 2017 to come and file 2018. So you have to file all of them, all your returns in sequence. So the only challenge I would probably have with that, you see, employer-employee relations is about the employer and the employee. So for you to get your P9, you'd have to actually go back to your employer and ask them to provide it for you. Or you combine all your pay slips, but that may not be very accurate for very many people. But the best is you get your P9 from your employer.
Right.
So you're able to file your return with the accurate data as it was filed by your employer.
Right.
Yes.
A final question before we get your final thoughts. And this has to do with matters money laundering and kind of illegal businesses. Because one, when you started, you told us there are different cutters, and so this tax amnesty targets those accrued penalties minus the whole principal tax.
Yes.
Now, what happens in a case, in a scenario where this business is an illegal business? Either a hypothetical, first of all, so the first scenario, maybe KRA is investigating that, or the second scenario, KRA does not know yet that this is an illegal business in its own.
Okay. So there are those provisos you had asked me, what qualifies and what does not qualify. There's one that I forgot to mention. I'm sorry about that. Assessments, additional assessments that have been raised for tax avoidance schemes. There are those people who actually put in transactions deliberately.
Could I kindly ask you to hold that thought, hold that explanation as you get back to Nairobi?
Not a problem.
Victor, habari ya asubuhi. Victor, habari ya asubuhi.
Nzuri sana.
Unatupigia ukiwa Nairobi wapi?
Lang'ata.
Lang'ata, sawa sawa. Asante sana for calling us. Uko na swali ama maoni kuhusu maneno ya tax amnesty?
Yes, so I had a question for the tax experts on the panel. So my question was basically I know of someone. He had a business. It went under sometimes 2022.
Right.
And then at that time, so he was actually not able. He was not transacting or anything else. So come to just recently, so we were actually going through his iTax. He has a penalty of over, I think, the principal was 100,000.
And 100,000.
Yes, and now the penalties and all that, it also comes to almost similar amount.
Sorry?
So, yeah, the principal and the interest and all that. Because he actually wanted to enjoy that amnesty before June.
Okay.
So my question was, so what do? Because like right now he's actually not able to access. He's not actually able to file for VAT or even apply for amnesty because he's actually told he has to apply for HITIM. So there's that whole process and all that, and now he has no business, so he's literally stuck. So like no, I just wanted to know. So what do you have for people like those? Because now they don't have business, but the interest it keeps accruing.
All right.
He's actually not even able to file nil and all that because the PIN is blocked. Now he has to apply for HITIMs first and all that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes,
all right.
So we need like guidance on that.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor. Salimia to Lang'ata.
Yes, I will.
Uambiwa endelea kutuwatch hapa. Njoroge, quite a whole packed kind of question. I think you're writing notes, just noting it down. You can unpack it for him.
Will do. I was explaining a point before that.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, we finalize on now the legal now and we get into the question.
What does not qualify?
Yes.
I did not mention that part of what does not qualify are assessments that have been raised, additional assessments raised for people who had tax avoidance schemes, where you actually creating transactions deliberately to avoid tax. Any such assessments do not qualify for the amnesty, so you'll have to pay for that one in full, as if no amnesty applies for that. I hope that one is it. We can clarify on that one. So we can come now to Victor and these very many questions. Now, number one, currently there is a program called VAT Special Table, which we have VAT obligations being deactivated for any one of number of reasons. One is a situation where people were not filing returns or consistently filing nil returns.
Right.
Or for any other reason that probably your account managers, because you have account managers for each and every PIN, pick out. But in this case, I believe, because you talked about e-teams, there's a situation where people who had not come on board the new, the upgraded ETR, as they was calling it, which is called the Electronic Tax Management System, Tax Invoice Management System, the VAT obligations were deactivated. So what to do in this situation? Number one, get on board to Teams. It doesn't cost you anything unless you're a big business person and you have to buy the gadget. But if it is the electronic version that can be put on your phone or on a laptop, it doesn't cost you a thing. Walk into the KRA office with your gadget, make the application, you'll be onboarded immediately. That will form a basis to reactivate the VAT obligation, so that now you're able to file your returns.
Right.
Yes. So now with that, you can come in and start sorting. As you do that, you can as well start sorting out now this principal tax, address it. How did it come about? Is it as a result of a business that you did not declare? Maybe you were assessed by somebody in the office. Have that whole conversation. You can have all of them ongoing at the same time. Yes.
Right. Fantastic. Victor, and even for your friend, I hope Mejibiwa. And in case not, they can always reach out to at KRA Care.
KRA Care is open. We have a very dedicated team that addresses all the questions that have been raised and directs you accordingly to your station.
All right.
Or where you can get help.
All right.
Yes.
Asante sana for this, having this conversation with us, Njoba Njoroge, a tax expert from KRA. Hopefully, have you tukutafute mahali 29th huko.
Not a problem. Or earlier, if possible.
Or earlier.
Don't wait for the last minute.
You tell us how things are at that time, and you also, updating these numbers, how many taxpayers have onboarded on this. I can always be part of this conversation now across the digital platforms, and tell us. We've posted that question there.